Dr. Night Echoes. The story of Annabelle began in 1970. A mother bought a large doll from a hobby store. She gave it to her daughter, Donna, who was a nursing student. Donna lived in a small apartment with her friend, Angie. At first, the doll seemed normal. Then, strange things started to happen. The girls would leave the doll on the bed. When they came home, the doll was on the couch. Sometimes, the doll was standing up against a wall. They found small pieces of paper on the floor. The paper had messages written on it. The messages said, "Help us." The girls did not own any parchment paper. They became very scared. One night, they found blood on the doll's dress. They called a medium to help them. The medium said a young girl named Annabelle Higgins had died in the apartment. The girl's spirit wanted to stay with them. The girls felt sorry for her. They gave the spirit permission to stay. This was a big mistake. A friend named Lou stayed over one night. He woke up and could not move. He saw Annabelle crawling up his leg. Later, Lou felt a sharp pain in his chest. He had 7 claw marks on his skin. The marks burned like fire. The girls called Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were famous ghost hunters. They said the doll was not possessed by a girl. It was a demon. The demon wanted to take over a human body. The Warrens took the doll away. On the drive home, their car brakes failed. They almost died in a crash. They put the doll in a glass case. One man visited the museum and laughed at the doll. He died in a motorcycle crash shortly after leaving. In July 2025, a museum handler died suddenly after touching her case. Today, she stays in a locked box in Connecticut. People say she is a vessel for a dark demon. The curse is still very real. The story of Robert the Doll began in 1906. A young boy named Gene lived in a big house in Key West, Florida. A servant gave him a handmade doll as a gift. The doll was 3 feet tall and wore a white sailor suit. Gene loved the doll and named it Robert. He treated the doll like a real person. Soon, his parents heard Gene talking in his room. They heard a deep, strange voice answering him. They thought Gene was just playing a game. Then, things in the house began to break. Vases fell over and toys were torn apart. Gene always said, "Robert did it." Neighbors saw the doll moving past the windows while the family was out. They said the doll would peek out and then vanish. Gene's parents sometimes found the doll sitting in a different chair than where they left it. As Gene grew up, he never let the doll go. He even built a special room for Robert in the attic. When Gene died in 1974, a new family moved into the house. Their 10-year-old daughter found Robert in the attic. She was very happy at first. Soon, she started screaming in the middle of the night. She claimed the doll moved across her bed and tried to hurt her. She said the doll wanted to kill her. Robert was identified as a haunted object and moved to a museum in Florida. Many people believe a dark curse follows the doll. Visitors to the museum must be very careful. You must ask Robert for permission before you take his photo. If you do not ask, your camera will stop working. Many people who were rude to him have reported car accidents or broken bones. Some have even died in strange accidents after visiting him. Today, Robert sits in a glass case at the Martello Museum. He still has his little stuffed dog. People from all over the world send him letters to say sorry for being mean. They hope to end his terrifying curse. The story of Mandy began in British Columbia, Canada, in 1991. A woman named Miranda owned a very old porcelain doll. The doll was made in Germany around 1910. It had a cracked face and wore baby clothes. For many years, the doll sat in a chair in the woman's house. Then, strange things started to happen. Every night, the woman woke up to a terrifying sound. She heard a baby crying in the basement. She went downstairs to look, but no one was there. She found the window open, even though she had locked it. The crying continued for many weeks. The woman felt a dark energy coming from the doll. She decided she could not keep it anymore. She took the doll to the Quesnel Museum. She told the staff about the crying. As soon as Mandy entered the museum, the woman's house became quiet. However, the museum began to have problems. Staff members said Mandy was a very naughty doll. They would leave their lunches in the fridge and find them hidden in drawers. Pens and papers went missing from the desks. They also found other dolls in the same display case broken into pieces. It seemed Mandy did not like to share her space. Visitors to the museum report very scary incidents. Many people say Mandy's eyes follow them as they walk. Some people try to take a photo or a video of her. Their cameras often stop working or the batteries die instantly. One visitor felt a sharp pain in their chest while standing near her. Another visitor fainted right in front of her glass case. People claim Mandy is possessed by a restless spirit of a child. They believe the doll was trapped in a dark place for a long time. Today, Mandy sits alone in a special case at the museum. She still wears her old clothes and has a creepy smile. Many believe she is a vessel for a lonely demon. The story of the Island of the Dolls began in the 1950s in Mexico. A man named Don Julian Santana Barrera lived alone on a small island in Xochimilco. He was a quiet man who wanted to live away from other people. One morning, he found the body of a young girl in the water near his home. She had drowned in a very sad accident. Don Julian felt very guilty because he could not save her life. Soon after, he found a doll floating in the same water. He believed the doll belonged to the dead girl. He hung the doll from a tree to show respect to her spirit. Don Julian soon realized that one doll was not enough. He claimed he could hear the girl screaming and crying in the dark. He felt a dark energy following him around the island. To protect himself, he began to collect old dolls from the trash and the canals. He hung hundreds of dolls from the trees all over the island. Many of the dolls were broken. Some had no arms or legs, and others had no eyes. Over many years, the island became a forest of decaying plastic and wood. It looked like a graveyard for toys. In 2001, a terrifying incident happened. Don Julian was found dead by his nephew. He had drowned in the exact same spot where he found the young girl 50 years before. People believe the spirit of the girl finally took him. Since his death, the island has become a very scary place for tourists. Visitors claim the dolls whisper to each other at night. Some people have seen the dolls move their heads and open their eyes. They say the dolls watch every step you take on the island. Local people believe a demon has taken over the dolls to trap souls. Today, the island remains a famous haunted site. Many people feel a heavy curse when they step onto the land. The story of Peggy began in England in 2014. A paranormal investigator named Jane Harris received a doll from a very scared woman. The previous owner said the doll was causing terrible nightmares. She also claimed the doll made her feel very ill every time she was in the same room. The woman tried to get rid of the doll several times, but it always seemed to bring bad luck back to her home. she finally gave the doll to Jane to study. Jane soon realized that Peggy was not like any other haunted object she had ever seen. Peggy became famous because of a very terrifying and unique power. Most haunted dolls only hurt people who are near them. Peggy is different because she can hurt people through a computer screen. In 2015, Jane posted a video and photos of Peggy online. Thousands of people around the world reported becoming very sick instantly. Over 80 people claimed they suffered from intense chest pains and breathing problems. Others said they had sudden pounding headaches that lasted for days. One woman even claimed she had a heart attack after looking into Peggy's blue eyes in a photograph. Many psychics have visited Peggy to understand her dark energy. They believe the doll is possessed by a restless and angry spirit. This spirit was likely a woman born in London in the 1940s. The spirit reportedly hates priests, cats, and anyone who mocks her. People claim that Peggy uses her spirit to reach out and touch the lives of strangers. They believe she carries a modern curse that travels through the internet. Because of these dangerous incidents, Peggy is now kept in a secret and safe location. Today, Peggy sits in a special wooden box lined with sage to keep her quiet. Visitors are warned never to look directly into her eyes for too long. No one knows how many people have truly suffered because of her image. Many believe she is a vessel for a powerful demon that wants to spread fear. The story of Okiku began in Japan in 1918. A young boy named Eikichi Suzuki was 17 years old. He went to a famous shopping street in Sapporo to find a gift. He bought a beautiful doll for his 2-year-old sister. The sister was also named Okiku. The doll wore a traditional kimono and had short black hair. Little Okiku loved the doll very much. She played with it every single day. She took the doll everywhere she went. Sadly, the little girl became very sick 1 year later. She died of a high fever in 1919. The family was heartbroken by her death. The family placed the doll on their private altar to remember their daughter. They prayed to the doll every morning. Soon, they noticed something impossible. The doll's hair was getting longer. When Eikichi bought the doll, the hair reached the jawline. Now the hair was touching the doll's shoulders. The family believed the spirit of their daughter lived inside the doll. They began to trim the hair regularly. However, no matter how many times they cut it, the hair grew back. It never stopped growing. In 1938, the family moved away. They decided to give the doll to the Manenji temple in Iwamizawa. They told the priest about the strange hair. The priest saw it for himself and was amazed. He placed the doll in a wooden box on the temple altar. Since then, the priest has trimmed the hair many times. Scientists once studied the hair from the doll. They claimed the hair is real human hair. Some people say the doll's mouth is slowly opening. They say you can see tiny white teeth growing inside. No one has died directly from the doll, but people feel a heavy presence near her. Visitors say her eyes follow them around the room. Today, the doll remains in the temple. Priests continue to cut her hair to keep her neat. Many believe the doll is a vessel for a restless soul. The story of Letta began in Wagga Wagga, Australia in 1972. A man named Kerry Walton lived in an old, empty house. He wanted to fix the building. One day, he looked under the wooden floorboards. He found a very old wooden doll sitting in the dark. The doll was about 200 years old. It was a marionette with a painted face and wild hair. Kerry decided to take the doll home. He named the doll Letta. He chose this name because the doll seemed to move and whisper, "Letta me out." This was the first terrifying sign. Carrie soon realized that Letta was not a normal toy. The doll was made with real human hair and a human scalp. When Letta was in a room, animals changed their behavior. Carrie's dogs would growl and try to bite the doll. They were very afraid of it. Even humans felt strange near Letta. Many people reported feeling sudden sadness or deep pain in their hearts. Some visitors even fainted or became physically sick. They felt a heavy, dark energy surrounding the wooden figure. This energy was very strong and scary. The doll also moved on its own. Carrie would leave Letta in the living room and find it in the kitchen. Sometimes the doll would shift its position in its chair while people were watching. One night, Carrie heard a loud screaming sound coming from the hallway. He found the doll sitting alone and the screaming stopped. People believe the doll holds the spirit of a young boy who drowned many years ago. They say a traveling circus performer made the doll to keep the boy's soul inside. Today, Letta remains with Carrie Walton. He has tried to sell the doll, but he could never go through with it. He says the doll will not let him leave. Some claim the doll is a demon, while others think it is a cursed object. While no one has died yet, the fear is real. People believe the doll carries a heavy burden of grief. The story of Harold began in 2003 on a website called eBay. He was the first doll ever sold with a warning that he was truly haunted. A man bought the doll at a flea market in Florida. The seller told him the doll was very dangerous and had caused many problems. The man did not believe the seller at first. He took the doll home and put it in his bedroom. This was a very big mistake. Within a few days, the man started to hear strange noises. He heard a baby crying and a deep, dry coughing sound coming from the corner of the room. The man soon noticed that Harold was moving on his own. He would leave the doll on a shelf and find it sitting on the floor. One morning, the man woke up and found his cat had died suddenly. He felt a very dark energy surrounding the doll. He began to suffer from terrible migraines that would not go away. He felt like something was squeezing his head every time he looked at Harold. The man was so scared that he put the doll in a plastic bag and hid it in his basement. Even in the dark, the man could hear the doll scratching at the bag. Many people believe Harold is a vessel for a very dark demon. One owner claimed that 2 of his friends died in strange accidents shortly after meeting the doll. Another person reported a serious lung illness that started the day Harold arrived at their house. People claim that Harold can change his facial expressions. Sometimes he looks sad, but other times he looks very angry and evil. Some say his skin feels like real human flesh instead of old wood and cloth. Today, Harold is kept in a locked box in a secret location. He is often studied by paranormal experts who are afraid to touch him. Many people believe a curse follows anyone who owns him. They say the demon inside Harold wants to cause pain and death. Even looking at a video of Harold can make some people feel very sick. He remains one of the most terrifying dolls in the world. The story of Joliet began many years ago in a small town. This doll has been in the same family for 4 generations. It is a very beautiful doll with a soft face and pretty hair. However, it carries a very dark and terrifying secret. The doll was given to a great-grandmother as a gift from a friend who was very jealous. This friend put a heavy curse on the doll before giving it away. Since that day, every woman in the family has followed a very sad and scary pattern. This pattern has never been broken in over 100 years. The curse of Joliet is very specific and very cruel. Every daughter who inherits the doll gives birth to 2 children. One child is always a girl, and the other is always a boy. Tragically, the baby boy always dies on his 3rd day of life. This has happened to the great-grandmother, the grandmother, and the mother. The current owner is a woman named Anna. She also lost her infant son on his 3rd day. This is why the family believes Joliet is a vessel for a very powerful demon. They believe the doll traps the souls of these lost sons. The family claims they can hear the doll making noises at night. They hear the sounds of many different babies crying and giggling coming from the doll's mouth. Sometimes they hear a tiny gasp for air in the dark. The most terrifying incident happened when Anna left the doll in a nursery. She found the doll sitting in the empty crib. The doll's chest was moving up and down as if it were breathing. Many people believe the doll uses the energy of the dead children to stay active. They say the spirits of the boys are stuck inside the plastic body forever. Today, Joliet stays with Anna. She refuses to get rid of the doll. She believes that if she throws it away, the souls of her ancestors will be lost. She treats the doll with great care and love. Visitors say the doll's eyes look very human and very sad. Many believe the curse will continue for many more years. The demon inside Joliet is waiting for the next generation to be born. The story of Sarita began in the city of Lima, Peru. She is known across the world as the Blonde Devil. This doll was a gift to a family with 3 children. At first, the doll looked very sweet and innocent. She had blonde hair and big blue eyes. However, the family soon realized that something was very wrong. The doll began to move on her own every night. The mother would place Sarita on a chair in the living room. In the morning, she would find the doll sitting on the kitchen table or near the children's beds. The most terrifying incident happened when the family heard music in the middle of the night. They went into the room and found Sarita playing a recording of a religious prayer. The doll was singing "Our Father" over and over again. The scary part was that the doll had no batteries inside her. The family removed the battery pack, but the doll continued to pray and talk in a high voice. The children began to wake up with deep scratches and purple bruises on their arms. They told their mother that the doll would crawl onto their beds at night and watch them sleep. A paranormal investigator was called to the house to help. He set up a camera to watch Sarita while the family slept. The video showed the doll moving her head and blinking her eyes. Then, the doll slowly lifted her arm and pointed at the camera. Shortly after this, the family experienced a string of bad luck. The father lost his job, and the house caught fire for no reason. People believe Sarita is possessed by a demon that hates symbols of peace. They claim she uses her angelic look to hide a very dark and violent spirit. Today, Sarita is kept in a glass box in the family home. They are too afraid to throw her away because they believe the demon will follow them. Many people who see photos of Sarita claim they feel a cold wind in their room. They believe the Blonde Devil carries a curse that can never be broken.